Benue IDPs block highway, demand return to ancestral homes. NNPC Limited rules out sale of Port Harcourt refining company. On the foreign scene, Kenyan court orders exhumations in suspected court-related deaths. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update on Trust TV. My name is Idris Baturi. Now, the Minister of Labour, Muhammad Dingyadi, has appealed to the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives to suspend their ongoing strike, saying it is not the best solution to industrial disputes. The minister urged the association to embrace dialogue while the government continues to work on addressing their concerns. In a statement on Wednesday, the head of press and public relations in the Ministry of Labour, Patience Onuoha, noted that the minister. Now, tensions have escalated along the Benue-Nasarawa highway as internally displaced persons IDPs on Wednesday blocked the major road at Yelwata in a massive protest that has lasted several hours. Eyewitnesses report that the protesters chanting "We want to go back home" completely obstructed both lanes of the busy highway, causing heavy gridlock and leaving many commuters stranded. The IDPs, most of whom are victims of repeated attacks by suspected terrorist headsmen, and they are fed up with the government's silence and inaction concerning their plight. They demanded a return to their ancestral homes, which they say have been taken over by armed militias. At the time of report, security operatives were yet to disperse the crowd, creating an atmosphere of tension. This developing situation further highlighted the worsening humanitarian crisis in Benue State, where thousands of citizens continue to live in displacement due to ongoing insecurity. 6 persons have been confirmed dead, while 2 others were declared missing in a canoe mishap that occurred in the Maja village, Tauro local government area of Jigawa State. Spokesperson of Jigawa State Police Command, Shi'i Sulawan, confirmed this incident, disclosing that the boat capsized while conveying women and children from Gunka to Zangwa Maja village. He explained that local divers and other first responders jointly swung into action and rescued 7 children alive. He added that efforts were ongoing to recover the remaining 2 children. The Commissioner of Police, Jigawa State Command, Dahiru Muhammad, expressed deep condolences to the affected families and the entire community in Zangon Maji. He also called on residents in riverine communities to avoid night journeys and overload, and also wear life jackets whenever they board a canoe.
Ya komai ya tafi gaci shi da ga wani mutane ai sai dai ai tabun su ta yazo ai kamata ai tabun mutanen ko su to kare shi anan kai ai to kare shi biyu dan daya tare gaba daya tare wanda ya gaji zai kama komai.
Some residents of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, were on Wednesday displaced by a flash flood caused by a heavy downpour that lasted for over 3 hours. Our correspondent gathered that some of the victims in parts of Damboa Road, Moduganari, Ngomari, and other places have abandoned their homes to seek refuge with family and friends. A resident of Damboa Road behind Indimi House, they fear further flooding as the rainy season continues in Moduganari. A resident, Joshua Solomon, confirmed that some houses have already been displaced. Meanwhile, a government source confirmed that the Ngomari primary health care facility also witnessed a flash flood. This is coming 10 months after the state capital and surrounding environment witnessed severe flooding that killed over 300 residents and displaced millions. The residents and motorists are calling for immediate action to ensure relief and minimize the impact of flooding as the rainy season continues. "35 Niger State residents who regained their freedom from bandits some weeks back have reunited with their families. They have been in the protective custody of the Niger State Police Command since they were rescued. The victims, made up of 16 women and 19 children with their families, were taken from various communities in the state, including Kagara, Tegina, and Agora. They were kept in police protective custody for weeks before reuniting with their families. According to the police, their minds were dissuaded from their captors before they were handed over to the chairman of the Rafi local government area, Ayuba Katako. Spokesman for the State Police Command, Wasiu Abiodun, confirmed the development on Tuesday. The Commissioner of Police, Adamu Eleman, noted that since the victims have been in custody, a series of counseling and de-radicalization processes were given to them with foods and bedding. Now, the federal government has been urged to set up an onslaught against terror groups killing and destroying innocent people and their properties in Zamfara and other parts of the northwestern states. A chieftain of the All Progressives Congress APC in Zamfara State, Abdullahi Shinkafi, made the call while briefing journalists in Gusau, the state capital, condemning what he described as barbaric and senseless slaughter of 38 kidnapped victims by bandits for their inability to pay ransom. He said the worsening security situation in Zamfara calls for the federal government to beef up security to flush out the criminals who are bent on killing, maiming, and abducting people for ransom. Shinkafi advised Governor Dauda Lawal to maintain his earlier stance on not negotiating with criminals, adding that the armed bandits cannot be trusted, citing past negotiations in which the terrorists failed to live up to the terms of the peace dialogues.
It is highly disheartening. After they delivered the 35 million naira, again they requested for 4 jerrycans of petrol. And they delivered the 4 jerrycans of petrol. They said they will use the petrol to fuel their vehicle to bring the captives to their relation. After they brought the 4 jerrycans of petrol, they demanded that unless they went and buy 800 phones, again they came back to Kaura Namoda and bought another, they bought 800 phones. And all those Android phones, none of the Android phone is less than 100,000.
Now, the Lagos High Court sitting in Ikeja has granted the former managing director of AMCON, Ahmed Kuru, permission to travel abroad for urgent medical treatment. Justice Mojisola Dada also ruled that the defendant's international passport to be released to enable him to travel to London, United Kingdom, for treatment. Though the nature of the illness was not disclosed in court, counsel to the defendant Onyinkan Badejo Okunsanya, son designate, had told the judge that the ex parte application for her client to be allowed to travel abroad disclosed fact that necessitated extreme urgency. Counsel to the EFCC, Wahab Shitu San, had not objection to the application. However, he raised an alarm that the Anti-Graft Commission has an intelligence report of attempt by the first and third defendant to dispose of some of the aircraft associated with Arik Air, the subject matter of the criminal proceedings. He wondered if the travel application was not an alibi to travel and sell some of the aircraft which are said to be in France, but urged the court to order status quo ante bellum and to determine the applications on its merit. After hearing from all parties, the judge noted with concerns raised by EFCC counsel but declined to issue any restraining orders to preserve the assets, as no documents were exhibited before the court to warrant the granting of such orders. This is the news update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. Labour Minister urges nurses to embrace dialogue as talks continue Friday. And Benue IDPs block highway demand return to ancestral homes. Now, moving on to more stories, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has warned against multiple and underage registration in Kebbi ahead of the August 18 commencement date for continuous voters registration, CVR. The INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, REC, in Kebbi, Abubakar Sarkim Power Dembo, gave the warning while briefing newsmen in Birnin Kebbi on Wednesday. He warned that the INEC will not condone multiple registration by proxy, underage registration, and all other illegal forms of getting registered as the Commission begins CVR on August 18. Sarkin Power Dembo added that eligible voters who had lost their voters' card, displaced their cards, or whose cards were mutilated or changed addresses or residencies could also present themselves for the physical registration. He also revealed that INEC registered 2,032,041 eligible voters in Kebbi. Of the number, 1,096,449, 54% were male, and 935,592, 46% were female before 2023 general elections. Now, the recent spike in fruit prices across the country has become an issue of concern among many Nigerians. The cost of fresh produce has surged significantly, impacting both market vendors and everyday consumer, leaving many sourcing for alternatives and calling for fair pricing. Mariam Idris completes the reports.
Across major markets, fruit prices have climbed steeply, leaving many households struggling to afford even basic fruits. Sellers attribute the increase to several challenges, chief among them the rising cost of fuel and fertilizers, which have disrupted their supply chains and pushed up operating expenses. Despite the higher prices, vendors report a noticeable drop in patronage.
While food prices sometimes go up due to seasonal changes, the biggest driver of the current hike is the cost of fuel. Transporting fruits from farm to market has become very expensive. On top of that, farmers are also facing rising costs of fertilizer. These two factors are pushing the prices beyond reach. I urge the government to urgently tackle the fuel crisis. It will go a long way in easing the burden on them. Customers hardly come to us anymore. They now focus on cheaper alternatives like rice and spaghetti. Interest in fruits has dropped, and we are really struggling with low patronage. We are appealing to the government to introduce strategies that will boost fruit production and make fruits more affordable for everyone. Truth be told, food prices are nothing like they used to be. Everything we sell has gone up, and it's really affecting our sales. Customers are fewer these days. The reason for the price surge is removal of fuel subsidy since this government came into power. Now it goes between 50,000 and 60,000.
Beyond the economic toll, the health implications are equally troubling. The rising cost of fruits disproportionately affects vulnerable groups like pregnant women and children, as reduced fruit intake compromises immunity and nutrition and increases susceptibility to illnesses.
So it affects or influences consumption generally because it prevents or it reduces how much people are able to buy fruits, especially with the whole income households. So reducing the amount of fruit or the availability or the accessibility or affordability of fruits to this individual, they would rather buy food instead of buying fruit, and thereby missing out all the nutritional importance of actually consuming fruits, because it is generally recommended that you eat at least 2 to 3 servings of fruits in a day, which would provide you with all the essential vitamins that the body needs to process. It's super rich in fiber, antioxidants. It helps to boost immunity. So by downplaying fruits just because of its affordability can sometimes lead people to having some certain deficiencies in these micronutrients that are available in these fruits. Groups that would be most susceptible to malnutrition would generally be the low-income household, like I've mentioned, because they are unable to afford the fruits as much as they should be. And then we'll talk about the children as well, because most times when we get fruits, we'll usually look at giving the adults the larger shares and giving the children maybe very small portions. And when it's not even available, you just completely forget about them sometimes. And then pregnant women as well. Yes, pregnant women. So these are the groups that are usually most susceptible to.
As fruit prices continue to soar, the concern for many lies in understanding the root causes and developing strategies to improve affordability and access to fresh produce. Mariam Idris, Trust TV News.
And now in business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) has officially ruled out the sale of the Port Harcourt Refining Company, reaffirming its commitment to completing high-grade rehabilitation and retention of the plant. The Group Chief Executive Officer (GCEO) of NNPC Limited, Bashir Ojulari, announced this during a town hall on Tuesday at the NNPC Towers in Abuja. He stated that the position was not a shift, but rather informed by ongoing detailed technical and financial reviews of the Port Harcourt, Kaduna and Warri refineries. The ongoing review indicates that the earlier decision to operate the Port Harcourt refinery before full completion of its rehabilitation was ill-informed and sub-commercial, Ojulari said. Although progress is being made on all three, he noted that the emerging outlook called for more advanced technical partnerships to complete and high-grade the rehabilitation of the refinery. He explained that selling is highly unlikely as it would lead to further value erosion. The announcement came in the wake of widespread speculation following his remarks at the 2025 OPEC seminar in Vienna, Austria, earlier this month. Now, away from Nigeria, a Kenyan court has ordered the exhumation of bodies suspected to belong to people who were starved and suffocated in the same county where hundreds of members of Doomsday cult were found dead 2 years ago. Prosecutors said on Wednesday the body in the new case are believed to be buried in shallow graves on the outskirts of Malindi in southeastern Kenya's Kilifi County. 11 suspects had been investigated, Kenya's Office of the Director of Public Prosecution said on X. The prosecutor's office said people in the area of the recently discovered graves had been unable to account for the whereabouts of several children, leading to suspicion of foul play. The court ordered the exhumations to be followed by post-mortem examinations, DNA testing, and toxicological analysis, it said. And now in sport, Esther Okoronkwo has been voted Super Falcons Fans Player of the Tournament at the recently concluded 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Okoronkwo beat 5 of her teammates to the individual accolade. Captain Rashidat Ajibade, who was named Player of the Tournament by the Confederation of African Football (CAF), Jennifer Echegini, Ashley Plumter, Folashade Ijamilusi, and Chinwedu Ehezio were the other players nominated for the award. Okoronkwo was announced winner of the poll conducted on Super Falcons X handle. The 27-year-old played a pivotal role in Nigeria's triumph at the WAFCON 2024 finals. The AFC Toronto star registered 2 goals and 6 assists in 6 appearances. She was also included in CAF's best 11 of the competition. In the meantime, a jubilant crowd welcomed the Super Falcons at Lagos following their triumphant victory at the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The team, fresh from receiving OON National Honor from President Bola Tinubu on Monday, was met with cheers, grants, and celebration as they arrived at the coveted trophy. The Lagos state government is set to host the champions with a trophy parade scheduled as part of their visits.
You can raise up the trophy, raise it up!
Sorry, Liam, am I your
Let them do it.
Now, before we go, on a sad note, the chairman of the Bauchi State Independent Electoral Commission, Ahmed Hardawa, has passed away. According to a press release issued on Wednesday by the Special Advisor Media and Publicity to Bauchi State Governor, Mukhtar Gidado, revealed that Makama died on Tuesday, July 29, 2025 in Abuja after a brief illness. He maintained that as chairman of BASIEC, Hardawa played a critical role in deepening democratic governance at the grassroots through the promotion of transparent and credible electoral processes. The media aide stated that Muhammad describes the late Hardawa as a man of wisdom, humility and exemplary leadership, whose wealth of experience and service orientation will be sorely missed at this critical time in the democratic journey. The governor extended his heartfelt condolences to the immediate family of the deceased, the Bauchi State Independent Electoral Commission, friends, associates, and the entire people of Hardawa and Misau Emirate councils. And with that, we have come to the end of the news update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and also watch us live on YouTube for more news programs and documentaries. My name is Idris Daye Bature, thanking you for being with us. Good evening.